Suck my ass, this is Stiff Oddcast.
And we're back with the Stiff Oddcast with Kevin Kaemerer, and we're talking WrestleMania 30 right now. We got to the ceremonies. Kevin, how would you say Scott Hall's speech and his induction? How do you think that went?
It was classic Scott Hall. There was one moment where he started to get choked up a little bit, and I was surprised to see that because he was suave as ever. He really was. It wasn't a long speech. It was short. It was sweet. It was to the point. And he ended with like a little rhyme. I can't really recall what it was, but it was off. It was. I wouldn't have expected anything else. That was exactly what I wanted to see.
Dude, did he start it up with "Hey yo"?
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
You know he did.
That's badass.
Survey says, yeah.
Did he look good? Did he look good, Kevin?
Oh man, yeah. Looks like he get back in there and whoop ass.
Dude, I wonder what they're going to do with these legends now after post WrestleMania 30.
Global Force.
Jeff Jarrett's like, here's about $500. Work a car. My daddy's special.
Okay, Scott Hall, obviously a man. He's the man. But the king of the promo, Jake the Snake. How'd that go? I mean, how was his speech?
That was definitely a wild ride. Because he kind of let you in on the dark side of his life. He didn't spit a whole lot of details.
Right.
But to sum it up, it's definitely the comeback story of the year.
Fucking A,
I
dude.
mean,
because
you
watched Beyond the Mat, right?
Years ago, to having one foot in the grave.
Yeah, he was
looking. Stage is something else.
Dude, yeah, he was smoking.
It's unheard of. It would be like seeing Mickey Rourke's character from The Wrestler stand on that stage.
I really do think that's basically where Darren Aronofsky, the director and writer, got his inspiration from, was Jake the Snake.
Snake Roberts. Yeah,
I was under the impression that that's what that story was because I remember watching Beyond the Mat.
Dude, yeah, smoking crack and stuff.
Dude, my heart was broke.
Yeah, everyone's heart was broke when they watched that film.
Him telling the story about his parents and weird rape stories or whatever.
His dad, which was Grizzly Adams.
Was he a wrestler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Grizzly Smith, actually. His dad was part of the Golden Age with Fritz von Erich and all those types. And I didn't realize his lineage ran so far back. And Jake's take on the whole lineage of the Silver Age of Wrestling or Golden Age, whatever you want to call it, was unique in a way because he took a very strategic way, psychology. He's like, well, people talk on the microphone, right? It's like, yeah, Jake, they do. Is that do they get over that way? He's like, yeah, they do. And Jake took this approach towards the microphone, and he also, his in-ring work exemplified everything he was talking about. He's the Muhammad Ali there of professional wrestling, where he would cut these.
And you know what? Honestly, the speech was exactly like that.
Dude,
it was exactly like that. And it was really cool. What I thought was really cool was he ended it with. I'm assuming it was his grandson telling the story about how he was born premature, maybe like a pound. Was eating through feeding tubes and was still at this moment is still eating through feeding tubes. But then he ended it by saying, at WrestleMania 50, you'll see this guy in the ring. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
Oh wow.
Future third generation superstar in the making.
Oh whoa, that'd be whoa. Because A, no one expected him to live long enough to have another child. And B, if he's got one, because his daughter ain't gonna be a wrestler, I don't think. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. His family was there, so I guess he's got their support.
I do remember
fantastic.
vividly
Awesome.
that Jake the Snake was the in the Smart Mark community and the Dave Meltzer community of wrestling journalism. They had adamantly predicted that Jake Roberts was going to die very soon.
I did too. I mean, just from watching Beyond the Mat is like watching his death unfold right in front of you. It really was.
Yeah,
And then,
and that's how I felt too. I felt,
I was under the impression that that's basically what that story was. Who was meant
absolutely.
for, or who was based on. And I thought, oh man.
Yeah.
But then, of course, DDP pulls through, and it's just miraculous. And also to mention, a huge, big shout out to World Wrestling Alliance here in our community.
Hell yeah! Yes.
For helping this guy get to where he was at.
Dude,
Ray
yeah.
and Chris,
I heard some stories about that.
Masterminds.
Dude, yeah, that was a big deal having Jake, dude.
Yeah.
And
HBO was there.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know the full story behind that, but
yeah,
that's...
I watched it. And of course, it wasn't about World Wrestling Alliance, but just the fact that I can't think of another wrestling organization that had HBO's backing.
No. Especially some local guys, getting that kind of exposure, and also they're trusted enough to have these legends come to their shows. Yeah.
Well, if anything, they can learn a thing or two. Whether it's Greg the Hammer Valentine, which was stories I heard about him, and Jake Roberts in the same locker room, which was funny. Like they pulled pranks on each other quite a bit, and they're both very fond of the alcohol. If anything, I think Greg the Hammer Valentine was quoted saying, "Where's the next liquor store?" And someone said about 2.5 miles there, and they're like, "Well, have the promoter drive me there and get me some vodka, and I'll finish this spot." WWA, Ray does a great job of performing, and I think his brother Chris does a good job. They have a strong mid card there.
I like to see them succeed. What is the next pay-per-view is crap. The Bowling Green show, Kevin. What is
Inception.
Hurricane. Yes. Yeah, Shane Helms. Mr.
Hurricane.
Yeah, he has that southern drawl, man. Talks like this, basically.
Yeah.
I highly recommend, if you go on YouTube, Google search Shane Helms shoot interview on Shawn Michaels.
Oh, dude, I'm sure that would be...
It's interesting, and it validates everybody's suspicions about the way Shawn Michaels treats backstage talent, and it really hurts everyone's feelings, basically.
Yeah.
Sean's a dick.
You know what's funny, man, about Sean? I don't know if you guys seen it or not. He was listed as the #1 superstar in their top 50. And there was I didn't really care for the guy that much. I mean, I don't know. It's just something about him.
Yeah, he comes off as a douchebag, and
I really hated him when he turned against Marty Jannetty back in the day. I remember seeing that happening when he threw Marty Jannetty's head through the barber shop glass. I hated Shawn Michaels. I really did, because
that was the goal of that, though.
Yeah, I know. It was a great heel turn, but god damn it, man. At the time, it's like the Rockers, and it's the same way with the Hart Foundation. The Rockers, Hart Foundation, Demolition, the Bumblebees, and all these tag teams that WWF had built up, they seem very legitimate and very balanced.
Yeah, very good chemistry.
I've come to this realization. This is very hard for a lot of people to understand. Marty Jannetty might have been a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels.
You're saying that Marty Jannetty might have been a better wrestler than Shawn Michaels?
Yes. I'm saying this sounds very, very controversial, but Marty Jannetty actually could copy everything, and I think that's part of their act. Was Shawn would do one thing. He was the how you would put it, the David Lee Roth, and Marty Jannetty was and Marty Jannetty was the Eddie Van Halen, but the difference was he's like, I can play the guitar and shred. But what Marty Jannetty did was he did exactly the same thing. But you have to understand, he was on the opposite end of that tag rope. He was holding it up and pumping that crowd up to get that hot tag. Yeah, that hot tag is what made the Rockers work. Outside of their tandem offense, that would be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 when they come in, and missile drop kick, Irish whip, dodge to the clothesline, seated drop kick, and so on and so forth. The point is Marty Jannetty is equally just as good as as Shawn
Yeah, I
Michaels.
can see that. I don't know as far as better. I mean, he as a singles competitor,
We never got to
he
see
didn't
Marty.
have a very long run. I think if he had a longer run,
Yeah.
to be able to see what he could really do, by himself, it'd be a hell of an argument.
Yeah, it's a tough argument. That's what I realized.
It's like, because we never got to see it. We never got to see Marty do what he could have done.
But looking back on it, Marty Jannetty actually is a phenomenal competitor. And he could have went just as far as Shawn went. I think his biggest flaw there in that particular time and moment was he wasn't a blonde bombshell.
Right.
Burnett, furry-headed motherfucker. And, of course, their gimmick was directly ripped off from two wrestlers, or actually four wrestlers to be precise. The Fabulous Freebirds in WCCW. Michael Hayes is where Shawn Michaels got his gimmick from.
Yeah.
And Marty Jannetty borrowed it from the Rock and Roll Express, which had the exact same gimmick. The same kind of offense. Everything was exactly play-by-play, one-to-one, borrowed from that Smoky Mountain Wrestling tag team. Jim Cornette's mentality.
Right.
What Shawn Michaels exemplified, and the reason why he got pushed, is he looked good doing it. He looked very well doing it. He stayed at a very a consistent shape and so on and so forth. So that's my opinion on Shawn Michaels.
And it's, like looking back, he did have some like awesome matches. I mean, Mr. WrestleMania is probably the perfect title for him. It's just it's funny to me how he went number one. Yeah. I don't see how you don't give that to Hogan or you don't give that to Austin. Either one of those two guys.
You're right.
You got number one for what?
Yeah. Shawn got number one as top 50.
Oh my god.
That's a little stretching it though.
When Hogan was back, dude, he was like 16 or 17.
Well, I can understand.
But he is WrestleMania though.
Yeah, Hogan did make WrestleMania.
Hey, somebody said something. I can't remember who. It may have been JBL or whoever. I can't remember. But they labeled Hulk Hogan as the father of professional wrestling, and that's perfect.
Yeah, because fathers aren't perfect. They're trying to figure it out themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but WrestleMania 1, no one really talks about WrestleMania 2, but WrestleMania 3, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, what was 2? Was that with him in
WrestleMania 2, that's where the Andre Giant thing came into play. There, the Battle Royal. In WrestleMania 2, there was a Battle Royal. And what was interesting about seeing that, if you got the network, watch it, because you get to see Bret Hart, or the Hart Foundation there in the blue and black. Big John Studd. You got to saw a couple football players there. I think it was the Refrigerator was a big deal, and Refrigerator had this up. Yeah, and he had this fucking. Honestly, as a kid, when I remember watching, I was like, dude, that dude is fucking scary looking. He's built like a brick shit house. That motherfucker's gonna take some asses out. I think, of course, Andre the Giant won that Battle Royal, I do believe.
All right, getting back on track there. Back to WrestleMania 30, the card. All right, after the Battle Royal, we talked about the ceremony. Then after that, I think it came back to Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. Kevin, explain this match. How did you feel watching this match?
I was entertained, and that's of course the ultimate goal for entertain the fans.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason I was because of Bray Wyatt. It's as simple as that. Because that guy, he like rears back and does this like reverse bridge thing where he's like walking backwards on his hands.
Yes,
and,
Exorcist style.
the whole gimmick, it just sells itself. But it was, as far as the actual, the moves in the ring and stuff, it was pretty basic, pretty simple stuff, for obvious reasons, because who his opponent was.
Right.
But, Bray carried that match, dude. And it's funny because looking back at the Royal Rumble, when he faced off against Daniel Bryan, I thought that he actually carried that match as well. When usually Bryan's the guy to carry the match for his opponent. Which, I mean, of course it takes two. But, overall, actually, I was very impressed. I was very impressed.
Like, because John Cena can wrestle sometimes when he wants to, because the SummerSlam match he had with Daniel Bryan was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
The match with him and Punk at the Money in the Bank was good.
Yeah, I was talking about that in so long. See, I know Cena can wrestle. There's no doubt in my mind.
You know, I know he can wrestle. I've seen him. I think I may have seen probably one of the first matches between him and Orton at OVW.
Yeah.
So it was a different, different promotion. They were a lot younger. And I think the thing with Cena now is, of course, he's got 5 Moves of Doom, the miraculous comeback, almost the exact same thing with, what Hogan did. And it sticks with me in a way because it's almost like watching a commercial.
Right.
But
Yes.
I think that he's such a high commodity that they don't want to, risk the, injury factors and whatnot. So they just pretty much, they roll with it.
A fragile
They say, all right,
commodity.
well, we're going to have your big comeback moment and you're going to win. Now, I was actually pissed with the outcome because Cena's going to be around for a while. I hate to say it, but
yeah, but
he could have put that guy over.
I know. Well, Cena gained nothing from that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Because Daniel Bryan lost to Bray Wyatt. It didn't hurt him at all.
Exactly,
Cena could have lost. It would have made Bray look like a fucking badass motherfucker, but he didn't.
But here's the thing, though, about Cena. I know, Kevin, you might have caught wind of this. I done some research. Because Cena, John Cena Jr., is one of the most protected and well-elevated commodities in professional wrestling I've ever seen. Primarily because he's been carried for how long? 10 years plus?
Almost, well, not 10 years plus. It's going on 10 years. Though.
Okay. Well, I found out that his dad has pull. I don't know how big of a pull his dad does, but John Cena Sr. ran an indie promotion and made relations there with Vince somewhere. There's something going on there.
Yeah. I think you'd mention something about it in the group, or maybe posted a link. And I did notice that there's a lot of former guys that are in his dad's promotion. So you're definitely right. There's something going on.
There's something going on there.
Like a promo poster and have Carlito and Chavo on there and stuff. And that raised an eyebrow for me.
It's like, what?
You look at, all right, what the red flags was Pat Patterson. This is where this starts. Because, we all got on the Chris Benoit, maybe he didn't kill his family thing.
I mean, there's always that possibility.
Yeah.
We'll say that one for another one, because I go on for hours about it.
Yeah, I know. But I got deep in it, and John Cena Sr. had apparently had some pull there in his talent. I don't know what's going on between him and Vince.
Well, so basically, Cena has something
going on. He knows something
over Vince, where Vince can't devalue him.
Or make him look bad.
Yeah. It's like John Cena cannot be pushed to the wayside just because Cena knows something.
Mm-hmm. There's something going on, dude. There. I really say we were talking about the circus.
So you're saying that maybe Cena's got some dirt on Vince?
Yes, he does. And I don't think it's so much him. I think his father has some dirt on Vince.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where this... I really looked into it because there's no logical reason for him to be as protected. Because you look in professional wrestling history, there's a lot of wrestlers that have been protected, but not this long.
Right.
With Cena, it's a little absurd. Immediately, as a wrestling fan, you see it as absurd anyway because of the crowd reaction is so polarizing. And all that. And when Vince has a couple commodities right now that can push his straight face as green light, and it would make him just as much money. So there's something going on that Vince does not want the internet wrestling community for sure to get on board with, because there's something going on. And I think it all...
that may have something to do with why we're not seeing a heel turn. But it's funny to me, we get this, on the internet, you hear a lot, Cena heel turn, and something tells me that he can't do it.
No.
But it's almost that he needs to do it.
Yeah, the biggest argument that everyone brings up in creative is what about the kids, man? You know, the kids love
Right.
John Cena. But back to that. They highlight his Make-A-Wish foundations that he always does.
Yeah,
But
Susan G. Komen, like the Be a Star, like all that stuff. The reading programs, like that's the thing that kills that.
and
Because when Hogan did it, of course there wasn't any of that, but he wasn't a WWF guy anymore.
no, but see what I was kind of going at with that was just like there's a lot of wrestlers that do that, and plus that what John Cena does, but they tote John Cena as being like the god of charity, but.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mick Foley to me is a god of charity. He does more than anyone. You know, it's like, but they never protected him.
He's smart with his money, man.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin was very smart with his cash too. You know.
Yeah, dude. I was listening to the Woodpecker story
Yeah.
on his podcast, and he said that he lived in a triple wide, and it just blew my mind. I didn't even know they made triple wide.
No, me either,
But it
dude.
didn't surprise me in any way that he lived in a triple wide.
Dude, that's what sold me on that podcast, man. I was like Stone Cold. That was a good story, A.
Yeah,
And B, just to hear him talk outside of like saying what or cutting a promo.
Yeah.
It was fucking fantastic. I love that podcast. You can tell sometimes though that he does have to cater to his WWE contract.
He has to hold back a little bit because he.
Yeah.
There's some things he wants to say. Okay, we had the John Cena going over Bray Wyatt. Then after that's the main event, right, Kevin? Is that the main event?
There was the bathroom break, Divas title match. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that always
No
thought.
comment.
You said it.
I guess I could. Man, we, our group, man, we crap on Divas every now and then, and it's pretty much a given. But I guess I'll say this: that I was happy to see AJ retain. I kind of knew it was coming because it was her against. It was too face heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone with half of a brain really did think that she was gonna lose.
Yeah, I guess the thing that made me happy about it was, that's the last little bit of CM Punk that's left. So.
Right. We'll get on to the CM Punk talk in a few seconds. But I remember you did say, I've been saying this for a few years on WrestleManiacs 2.0. He's talking about when a Divas match shows up, that's your cue to go make a sandwich. That's your cue to go get a cold beer, rearrange your sock drawer. I think that's probably what those matches are sometimes put on the card.
Yeah, take a break.
Yeah, it's meant for that. Because, me and my son, man, we go to a lot of house shows, and anytime there's a Divas match, the crowd's getting up.
Time to go
and
piss.
It's funny because they'll do an intermission, and then they'll do a Divas match following. So if you don't get back to your seat in time throughout the intermission, you still got another, 4 or 5 minutes for the Divas match to get back to your seat.
So AJ retains. So then it's the main event, right? Is that the main event now after that?
Oh, no.
What the fuck?
the streak, man.
Oh, shit.
Let's not.
Whoa, let's talk about that, guys. Holy shit.
Well.
I mean, I'm on the fence.
I am, in a way. It seems like, to me, the Undertaker called an audible. He was like, because apparently with that angle, only 6 people knew who was going to win that match.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking maybe Undertaker's like, just fucking end it. And Lesnar did. I don't think it was like...
I know there was some talk of, he got admitted to the hospital, which was, that actually happened. Maybe he did just say, I'm getting too old for this shit. The word box got thrown around a lot. And the ending was, it was pretty bad. But in a way, Brock Lesnar's he's a beast. But when you're going at it for 15, 20 minutes and your stamina's running low, it's hard to pick up a 300-pound, 6'10", dude like the Undertaker is just dead weight. If people want to use the word boss, I get it. But it would be hard for really anybody to be able to pull that off.
Because Undertaker used to be able to jump into those F5s. But at his age,
this one was like he had him set up for the tombstone. It was like a backflip, and then Brock kind of like picked him up and just like heaved him over his head. So it was all basically in one motion. So to use the word botched, I don't know. I don't know if that's fair because that looks
I have to watch
hard.
it. I have to watch it because I've been also hearing that too about like, man, they kind of fucked up that ending, right? It's like, I just have to see it.
Yeah.
I was honestly shocked though. And
I was too, and I think that's the thing that I liked about WrestleMania was that was the most unpredictable thing that happened, and I love being surprised because surprises in the WWE are few and far between.
I know. It's like there's everything in wrestling has been done to the ground and beat to death. When something like that does happen, it gets a rise out of you. You're like, man, what? It's just like that's why I enjoy wrestling is because it is entertainment. Whether it's shock value sometimes or it's just like you get goosebumps when there's an awesome spot and that kind of feeling it gets a rise out of you. Kevin, do you think this is Undertaker's last match? Do you think that he's done now? Do you think he's just?
Oh man, I think it's too early to tell, really, because there's the Sting talks as well, and that's what throws me off. I don't know what I couldn't predict if he's going to have another match or not, because honestly, I mean, all in all, that match was shit, and I don't know. I mean, for one match a year. If that's too much for the Undertaker. So it's hard to tell. And to see two guys that are up in age, him and Sting, I think if there was a year to do it, this would have been the year.
Yeah, or maybe you should have done it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about this Sting versus Undertaker shit on the internet for a long time.
Yeah. And the thing is they both want it.
So Undertaker actually came out and said, I want to wrestle Sting.
Yeah. Undertaker came out and said it, and of course Sting has always been, pretty vocal about it. But, like I said, I think that, if there was a year to do it, this would have been the year because, like I said before, if they wanted to bring in a part-timer for the main event, I would have rather seen Brock than Batista, which would have left that open spot against the Undertaker. I think the problem was that Sting kept extending his contract with TNA and just all the hoopla.
Well, I think that
politics and all that bullshit.
The wrestling press has been using Sting and CM Punk as bait for their websites for the last 7 to 8 months here lately.
That's what they've been doing. Like it's been using Sting as a buzzword and CM Punk. Like CM Punk's totally gonna be at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
It's I personally just me speaking. I never gave a flying fuck about seeing Sting wrestle Undertaker. I just never. To me, I mean, sure, in a weird way, I guess it'd be interesting, but they're way past that prime.
And a lot of people, I'm not really a big Sting guy either. I'm not saying I'm not a big Sting guy, but when he did the whole Crow ripoff, I didn't really care for that. He was made for a great story because he was like one of the last few WCW guys when the NWO was taking over, and like I said, it made for a great story. But
I love Sting. I personally love. Yeah, he's a WCW guy, and he never sold out.
Right. Yeah.
He's like not.
Yeah, that's the most admirable thing.
And he's by far not my favorite wrestler of all time, but he was WCW.
Yeah.
You had Ric Flair, then you had Sting there for the longest time. Those guys were WCW, and looking the whole Crow thing. I guess during the NWO era of WCW, I didn't particularly think it was awesome, but I did think it was cool that he came out of the rafters and just beat people up with baseball bats.
Yeah, because it was in the way it told a story of it was like the bad side of WCW because it looked like WCW was on its like last leg, and then finally here comes the WCW guy, and it's Sting, and he's gotten darker and more evil, and that was cool. Just wasn't big on the change, the look of the change.
Yeah.
I think if he'd have just came back with like the blonde hair and the paint, he would have been just as over.
Yeah, totally. I guess maybe his makeup artist was like, hey, maybe we should try this one out see how it works, see how it goes. And I guess Sting was like, fuck yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
But,
I don't know if that was the makeup artist or if that was Sting or not. Because,
maybe.
I think at one point, like Sting, if I remember, like he ripped off the Joker in TNA.
Oh yeah, in TNA, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Why are you so serious?
Why so serious, TNA? I mean, he's just trying to sell T-shirts, and he's trying to be quote unquote current.
I do believe if you do see Sting Undertaker angle work out, the sum of it would probably be the Sting DDP Nitro match.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of reversals of the Tombstone pile driver.
I don't know. They have a chance of working with.
Yeah, they could, but it's not going to pay off like they think it would. That's what WWE's banking on. I think they're getting off on the fact that they can take
for one match.
Yeah, they can. I think WWE's banking on the fact that they can get a hard-on off taking a Warner contract and turn it into shit, like they hope to do with Goldberg and Bret Hart. That's all you're going to get. That's the reality of it.
So, what would you give that match? The Lesnar Undertaker scale 1 to 10. What would you give that?
I'll rate it a little high. As far as the match itself, I'll give it a 7 because of the ending. Because of the ending, I give it a 7.
How was Undertaker striking there versus Brock Lesnar's brute force?
Not traditional Undertaker.
Okay.
They matched up really well. I'm assuming that a lot of the more current fans, they're not aware that they had wrestled in the past, and they brought up the old run-in that they had when Lesnar was in the UFC, and the Undertaker was there at 120 or whatever.
Oh, dude, yeah, I watched that.
Did Undertaker break out his submission hold there?
Yeah, the Hell's Gate. Yeah, he totally did that.
The Hell's Gate. Yeah.
Yeah. He did the Hell's Gate, and Brock, he basically just uses his power to lift him up, slam him, that sort of thing. I think he may have pulled it off twice.
Damn.
Dude, I was fine with seeing Brock Lesnar.
Me too, because everyone's like, fucking part-timer, man, you got to streak. I'm like, talking about the king of part-timers, Undertaker works one fucking day a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right, yeah. One day out of this whole work year.
Honestly, it wouldn't bother me to see Brock with the strap.
Dude, see, it makes you wonder. Speaking of the, I guess I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. The main event, Batista, Randy Orton, and Daniel Bryan. I heard there was a nice powerbomb. Randy Orton does a neck breaker, and Batista does a Batista bomb through a table. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was like a powerbomb RKO combo on Bryan through the, of course, the legendary Spanish announce table.
Of course, man.
I wouldn't want it any other way. It's actually, you know what? I may be wrong. It may have actually been King and Michael Cole and JDL. I can't remember, but that was pretty sweet. That match was really good. I like that match. That was the best match of the whole night.
It's good, man, because that's what I've been hearing. I heard that Batista wrestled well. He didn't seem stiff.
He did. He actually did. And Randy Orton had nailed a RKO on him, and that near fall, that 2 count was probably that would forever be the kick out of his career, because it was so close. It was so close. I really thought Randy had it won, man.
Did you? Oh man! So you had that legit fear in you. It's like, oh man, Orton's going to retain.
It was that whole match. It was up in the air. It could have been anybody's. Right now, of course, according to the storyline, it was predictable and it ended the way everybody thought it would. But no, that match was spot on, man. 5 stars.
Dude, that's a match I want to see because, like we was talking about earlier.
If there's any match to watch, that'd be it.
Because, we was talking about this earlier. I'm a Randy Orton fan, but here, he's been pushed down our throats for so long. I kind of, it's like, ugh. But to hear that there was no boo chance or, boring or this match sucks.
The only dude that caught him was, of course, Batista.
Really?
Yeah, and that was just off the build-up.
Damn.
I think the thing that I didn't like about that match was Batista wasn't wearing boots.
He didn't wear his boots?
No, he wore Jordans to the ring, and he had them taped in green tape.
What?
Yeah.
What era of Jordans are we talking
green
here?
tape to match the green that was on his trunk. It was weird, dude.
His ring attire has been fucked, man. Because you saw the Instagram of him ripping his skinny jeans, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking. What kind of Jordans was he wearing, man? Were they wearing was he wearing the new?
He was wearing just his basic, black trunks with some green on it, and then some Jordans with green tape wrapped around them. It was weird.
That's hilarious.
So,
yeah,
what would you take out of this entire goddamn pay-per-view is the future of this company? Where's it going from here?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that because it wasn't a card that I wanted to see. Because, because to be honest, I did not watch 29 until Sunday because they were airing it on the network, which is available to, for on demand. But
right.
I didn't watch it because I had no interest in it. And that was actually the first Mania I had never watched. And, to me, I think the WWE, their calendar year starts after WrestleMania.
Okay.
It's a fresh new start for them. And after 29, it got really good, in my opinion. They threw a little edginess out there, but still kept their PG mentality, but it was watchable. And then the Daniel Bryan.
We forgot to mention.
SummerSlam, that just killed it.
That did. We forgot to mention the Shield, New Age Outlaws, and Kane match. Shit.
I didn't even watch that.
Oh,
it's not that I didn't watch. It's not that I purposely didn't watch it. Like it was over so quick. I ran off to go do something and went back. I came back in and the match was over.
I heard it was a squash match.
Yeah, was it a squash match? Is what I heard too.
Yeah.
I just heard it was just over real fast.
Yeah, it was probably 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. How was that? The after Raw. How was the Raw after WrestleMania? How did that settle? I mean, was it? I mean,
it didn't. The crowd was unbelievable, like they always are. But as far as the show itself, if the crowd wasn't involved, it would have just been a typical Raw.
Gotcha.
I think the moment of the night for me was RVD came back.
Of course, gotta have him. It's just strange. He just kind of pops in during the summer almost, or right when spring and summer happens.
Yeah,
he shows up to wrestle.
I was surprised that him and Y2J they didn't come back for Mania. I was expecting both those guys.
Yeah, Chris Jericho usually shows up and loses every WrestleMania for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything storyline wise, what are they pushing? Was he hinting towards?
What they're doing right now is they are. I think they're trying to rebuild Evolution.
Oh my!
Yeah, we don't need that. I don't think we need
Daniel
that.
Bryan, he's got the odds are against him. Triple H, he comes out and says, "You're not going to leave, with those titles at the end of the night." They start to square off, and but before they do, Orton and Batista, they put a beat down on him, and then of course Triple H comes out while Daniel Bryan's injured. That whole thing. As soon as Triple H gets in the ring, he waits for Daniel Bryan, I guess, to get up, and then you hear the Shield music kick in. So they come out. The pretty much save the day, and that was weird to me because I'm ready to see those guys split up.
Yeah, no. I think we was doing our predictions on WrestleManiacs 2.0 on Facebook, which is an awesome group to join.
Join
Yeah,
it.
Facebook search, send a request. I'd be more than happy to add you.
Yeah, because it's a members only club. You got to be asked to be in. It's fantastic. A lot of different opinions. Usually it's kind of uniform with other wrestling groups because they're usually sucking on the WWE titty all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we was talking about that on our WrestleMania predictions about how we was calling how
Oh yeah. I
how the
thought
matches.
that the Shield would lose, something would happen, and they that would be like trying to start the breakup again because they tried to do that a couple months ago.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I don't know what happened there, but Dean Ambrose has had a U.S. title for like I don't know how long. It would have been cool to see a triple threat for the U.S. title.
Yeah, that title's in
and,
flux right now.
I guess with Roman Reigns being so popular right now, put it on him, and then eventually for Seth Rollins. Either one of those guys, I've been fine with. But
Dude,
yeah,
they're
the
interchangeable.
booking is just terrible.
The what?
The booking is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing new though. That's the old hat. This is terrible. Anything that you think would make sense is because it's based off like this is logic. No, it never happens. And I just hope they don't kill. There's two things I want to see post in this reset. I hope they do not kill Bray Wyatt's push. I hope the Shield get what they deserve. And I'm really highly interested to see who's going to chase Daniel Bryan's title. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I think they're gonna throw everything at Daniel Bryan. I say he hands over the title. I say he drops it to Brock at SummerSlam.
Dude, that would be interesting.
Yeah, David versus
I mean,
Goliath.
if you look at it, a lot of people were pretty pissed because The Rock had came back last year and Punk, he handed the strap over to him, and he's a part timer and he didn't deserve that spot. And I guess some people feel like part timers shouldn't be champions, but Brock has kind of been a part timer for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
and
he shows up more.
This is really the only time he's really been in the running for it.
Dude,
I mean, it's not like they really defended on Raw. It's only defended on pay-per-views, and since Brock only wrestles on pay-per-views, it only makes sense.
Right. Gosh, yeah, I really do think that's going to happen. Crap, yeah, Lesnar, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Daniel Bryan for the next big pay-per-view.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you look at WrestleMania 20, Benoit didn't have the title, or he had it until SummerSlam, and he lost Orton, so I'm assuming that's probably the same route they'll go down.
It's gonna be interesting to say the least, man. Because gosh, talking about ending the streak will carry your ass all year.
Yeah.
There's no way you can kill that steam. Yeah. And Daniel Bryan being the size he is against the dude that ended the streak, just at face value.
Yeah.
I mean, that will put the fear in you, man. You're like, fuck.
I think that'd be a great match too.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a 5-star match, man.
You can tell when Lesnar wants to wrestle with the wrestlers that he likes. John Cena, he just wanted to beat him down. Obviously, he lost it. Triple H wrestled him a little bit, but him and CM Punk, that match was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was a wrestling
match.
match.
A lot of guys forget that Brock is legit, man. He's a legit, real wrestler, man.
Yeah,
but he would get in there and wrestle a hole in the ring for sure. And him and Daniel Bryan, dude, that'd be awesome. And David said the David and Goliath story to go with it. I'm pumped. The thing that I'm really most disappointed in overall with the WWE is the non-existence of the 60-minute Iron Man match. Like that's
went by the
that's
wayside.
Probably my personal favorite, and it's like it never happened.
Yeah, it's Are they afraid that
And,
someone might get
if
injured?
they're unifying these titles, and that's pretty much making the card, shortening it down, I wouldn't want to do something like that.
Because, you see, you get your money's worth. Because that's how you can really tell who's an athlete or not.
Yeah.
Because if you're winded by the first 15 minutes, that means, man, you're just, I don't know, you're faking it. I don't know. You're all show, no athleticism. Iron Man matches call you out on your bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, they do a fairly good job at, there's a lot of 40-minute matches and stuff, but that extra 20 minutes, dude, that's 20 minutes.
I know. That's, oh, man. Maybe WWE doesn't see anyone having an attention span that long. I don't know. That's probably...
Yeah, that could be the problem. But I think there's enough talented guys to be able to pull off a match, entertaining for that long.
Yeah, especially...
I know Daniel Bryan could. I know CM Punk probably could.
Yeah, CM Punk,
I think actually CM Punk he prides himself on being like the Iron Man guy. So...
gosh, yes. CM Punk, he really did stick it to the man. I really did think maybe he was going to work that into an angle for WrestleMania 30 for him to show up and do something crazy. But no, he really did legit say, "Fuck you, Vince. I'm done."
Yeah, somebody had actually took a photo, because there was all the big talks, and it's funny because even Austin had predicted that, or tried to predict that Punk would come back, and if there's anybody's word in the business, I'll take it's him and Jim Rossi. And I thought, okay, well, if Austin believes that Punk's coming back, it could possibly happen. But then somebody over the weekend had took a picture of Punk hanging out with some band at a concert on Saturday night or something like that. Well, yeah, he's not coming back.
Damn.
Yeah, and he was in Chicago too with that. So
see, I hate that how Vince McMahon's like, well, I'm gonna put some rumors out there and people's gonna watch Raw because CM Punk's gonna be there to make them think that.
Yeah, he said something like, Punk's just taking a sabbatical right now. What the hell is that?
Yeah, what kind of bullshit? And his contract's up this month, right? April. That's what I always heard. Was
yeah, April. It's up, man.
Good for him, though, man. He did great. I'd like to see him wrestle more, but fuck, no one's talking about how wrestlers are going to get paid for their pay-per-views now, because it used to be $60 a pop. Wrestlers live for their payoff from that, and if there's a WWE Network, $10 a month, why the fuck would you pay $60 for any pay-per-view anymore?
Yeah, I think that's all they're worth is $10 a month. I have not bought a pay-per-view in ages, and for $10 a month and the entire video library, I'll pay it.
Yeah, fuck, that's chump change, really, when you think about it. There's so
much
there.
I've got cable, but I'm down to basic, the local. So, I rely on the internet for, entertainment. $10 a month, no big deal.
Yeah, it's back when we was talking about television shows earlier. That's how I watch majority of my shows. I don't watch them live on television. Always wait for the internet to have it. Kevin, man, we're rolling at possibly almost 3 hours worth of conversation here.
Lots of material.
Lots of good material here.
That's what's awesome about wrestling. And I know I said that in the group I was going to try to do my own podcast, run into some financial issues, but I would love to do this again because with wrestling there's so vast and there's so many different things to talk about.
Yes.
Well, you're more than welcome.
There's enough material to have hundreds of hours.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to come over by here directly and take control and use your equipment.
Yeah, because it's a great companion piece. Because this Stiff Oddcast thing is, sure, we talk about movies and we talk about
bullshit, dick pills.
Yeah. But we also really love to talk about wrestling, and we have very few people to talk to about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. I'd definitely love to to do another show, right there at the studio.
We can come over to your crib too, man. Don't make no difference.
If I request, man, I would love to. I'd love for our next meet to be focused on the Chris Benoit situation.
Yes.
Go ahead and just get it out of the way.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be an
because
honor.
that's a complete Oddcast all of itself.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different facets of this entertainment. I'm still intrigued by wrestling, the concept alone. And Kevin, it's just really nice to talk to someone who is on the level that we can both wax philosophical.
And you don't sound boring
wrestling.
doing it. You actually have a cadence to your voice, and I think people will be willing to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure. Hey, I'm sure we're at the point of wrapping this up, but I will say this. I know that you also had advertised for this episode for us to cover the UK game last night.
Oh, shit.
I did not watch it.
Oh, dude.
I
did.
I didn't watch it. To be honest, I only watched one basketball game this entire season.
Dude.
And it was the UK Louisville game in the Elite Eight. So
we can talk about basketball too.
I'm usually a big sports enthusiast. Basketball is not really one of my favorites. Not really my game. And I don't know what happened this year because typically after the Super Bowl, it takes me a couple weeks to kind of get back into sports mode.
I got you.
But this last Super Bowl was just like an atrocity. And I still haven't recovered from that.
That was a squash match.
We were heading into 30, WrestleMania 30, and that was where a lot of my focus was at too. So.
I feel you, man. And back to the college basketball thing. I've only watched 2 games this whole season. Most of the time I listen to the radio while I'm just walking around the house or something. But this Kentucky season, this in a nutshell, this I guess is not playoff run, but this tournament run, it was miracles, pure miracles, and they were out of miracles last night.
Yeah, I could tell definitely by watching the highlights, man. Those game-winning shots, dude. That is impressive.
That was epic.
It's funny because I think that the reason why basketball isn't really my thing is because Kentucky fans are so hardcore, man.
I know, yeah.
It makes it unappealing. It makes the sport unappealing. Occasionally I get into like the trash talk just for fun, but the UK Louisville thing is like on a whole spectrum of its own.
Yeah, it's like if you live in Kentucky, that's like as common as apple pie. It's like it's like a college basketball in Kentucky is a religion. It's like being Southern Baptist or something.
I was like explaining to one of my buddies at work that basketball, in Kentucky is a religion just as football is in Texas.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure if I lived in Texas, I wouldn't love football as much
I know, you'd be like,
I do.
Fuck this shit, I love hockey.
Yeah, I've actually been getting into hockey here like these last couple months.
Dude, playoff season's right around the corner.
On TV, and I was flipping through and caught this crazy shot, and then a few minutes later, a fight broke out. I was like, oh man! Within 5 minutes, I watched a really crazy goal and a fight. I'm down.
Dude, that's fucking hockey, man.
Yeah,
playing soccer with skates.
That's a sport. You know what? I guess at the end of this year, I will pick out a hockey team and I will follow them because I want to try this sport out. Because
I am on the Penguins bandwagon simply because as some of you on Facebook may know, I'm a huge Steelers fan, and I thought I'd just keep it centrally located. So
why not, dude? Why not?
Yes. I don't like to scatter too many teams around because I'm a Lakers fan, so that's a little weird that Pittsburgh doesn't have a basketball team in the NBA. So whatever.
I got you, man. That's why I gravitate. I mean, I'm not a bandwagoner, but I've always been a Kevin Durant fan. So in the NBA, and if you live in Kentucky, you don't have an NBA team, so I kind of flip flop a little. I love the Thunder, and I've always been a rooting fan of the of the Golden State Warriors, but
Okay.
it's.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, those are teams. It's because we have that power because we don't have a national basketball team or.
Yeah, well, I think that's just pretty much how the NBA is, really. I mean, there's just so many, stars within so many teams that if you like the sport in general, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, man. It's this professional. That's why I love wrestling so much. I guess it's this. It cuts all the bullshit because the bullshit's up front.
Right. Yeah.
It's like professional sports nowadays. They try to still sell you on the fact that none of these games are rigged, and I don't know. That's a whole different can of worms.
And yeah, you know what? I won't get too far into that. But if you guys ever get a chance, try to get your hands on the book, "The Fix Is In" by Brian Toohey. It's amazing.
Dude, you say Brian
Yeah,
Toohey?
he follows the paper trail, and there's a lot of people who may not know. Actually, maybe there are a few people out there that realize, the NFL, the officials back in the '60s, admitted to rigging games. So there was ties to mafia and stuff. So
Oh, shit.
I don't doubt that there's something like this still going on today. Probably a little more camouflaged.
Yeah,
hard to tell,
more
but-
sophisticated. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's big business, man. There's no way it couldn't be.
Right. Anytime there's a dollar to be made, you can expect some type of corruption.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it leads to the betting odds in Vegas.
Right.
And then you have your suit and ties in Vegas and say, oh, all these people are betting on, Kentucky to win this game. Let's just make a few phone calls and make sure that doesn't happen so we profit. So.
Right. Right. And that's where also the referees can keep the pace of a game and keep the spread smaller, too. If you need your spread to be smaller, it's like get them to the line. If you said Kentucky was going to win by 10 points, you would be like, the referee will, make sure that happens for you. Some way or fashion.
Absolutely.
But Kevin, man, I really do appreciate you coming by or calling in.
Absolutely.
The Stiff Oddcast thing, you've been amazing, man. We're going to talk again very soon. I'm sure of it. This has been the April 8th, 2014 edition of the Stiff Oddcast. Thank you for listening.
You're a AAA dude, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.